The DRI is an important development for the future of Glens Falls. The city leaders have worked for years to bring South Street back and to make it a vital part of our downtown once again. The DRI was an incredible opportunity to do this, and the city seized it. Just think, $10 million worth of investment, leveraged nearly 5 times. It has taken 3 administrations more than 8 years, and it is my honor to be the mayor that brings the final pieces together and finishes this life-changing project.
In the early 2000s, Glens Falls was a typical upstate northern Rust Belt community. Historically, it was a mill town. Like so many other mill towns in upstate New York, many of these were struggling economically, culturally, socially, commercially. So New York State's primary solution was what they called the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. And this essentially is a grant or a series of grants that's designed to help communities to rehabilitate their downtowns, rejuvenate their downtowns, and essentially repopulate their downtown commercial areas. In the case of Glens Falls, the revitalization of the city really began around 2006 or 2007 with the construction of a roundabout in the downtown area. The roundabout provided flow that added to the sort of vibrancy of the downtown. In addition, several other state and federally funded projects sort of moved us along the line, one of which was the rehabilitation of Glen Street, the kinds of things that create the sort of public infrastructure that will then enhance the kind of private development that will follow with buildings.
Ed Bartholomew had been a former mayor of the City of Glens Falls, continued to be involved in the community, even though for some time he had worked for the state of New York. And after that came to an end, he agreed to step into a city role again and taking on the job of Director of Economic Development for the city. Ed's vision and dream was to help to bring new life to the downtown area. He wanted it to emphasize the arts and entertainment, wanted to support the farmers market. He wanted it to continue to be a very walkable city, wanted the mixed use to have more commercial on the first floor, residential's up above, more people living in the downtown area. And so that was part of his vision, and the mayor and the common council supported that. And then the state of New York started talking about creating this Downtown Revitalization Initiative program. And so Ed was ready to go and apply as soon as they put out their first application.
It was something that we needed, and we didn't know how we were going to do it. But Ed, he loved Glens Falls. That's what he did. He'd go out and he'd get the money to make things happen. I remember the day when the money came through. We got the DRI, $10 million. It was such an excitement in Glens Falls at that time. And I was on the street, so I knew everybody. And it was one of the best days of my job, and that's the truth.
We're one of the first, I think, 10 municipalities in the state, the smallest of all, to receive this funding under the Downtown Revitalization. Within a year of Glens Falls receiving the DRI award, we formed a local planning committee to collect community input. And in a series of very well attended sessions, changes were made. It was based on the feedback that we were receiving from the citizens. We went back to the state with some changes and ideas, and then the projects were lined up and the state agreed to do it.
So the DRI included several components. There was infrastructure, including sidewalk and streetscaping, incentivizing private investment for redevelopment of several vacant buildings. The public component involved a new market center building for the farmers market as an anchor tenant, as well as other festivals and city events, and a small business assistance program for startup businesses filling empty storefronts and other purposes to help businesses expand in the DRI. There was a nonprofit component of that grant funding to help some nonprofits with some capital improvements, and also a public arts trail and public art installation component. SUNY Culinary School relocating to 14 Hudson, I think, was an original idea. Talked about years before the DRI and how to get location in the Adirondack downtown in a bigger presence. The components really came from the city's strategic planning process. And the nice thing, 8 years later, is that the majority of the projects submitted with the application and approved by the state have now come to fruition.
This is an exciting time for Glens Falls. It's the culmination of literally multiple generations of leadership that have started to bear fruit in front of all of us. But we're oftentimes viewed as one of the places that you would see in a magazine talking about cool places that you've never heard of. It all happened with this energy that was driven by the DRI. And when the state imagined this program, and remember we were the very first award winner, so we were imagining it with them. They had many objectives, but I remember two so distinctly. We want to transform downtowns. We want to rebirth them. And we want to drive outside investment. We want to lever our public investment into something that is greater. We don't want $10 million worth of investment. We want a multiple of $10 worth of investment. That sounded so audacious when they said it. I think the idea of getting 5 times the total investment that the state made back in terms of the total investment in the city is, to me, the landmark achievement. That's the definition of growth and vitality, and I want to be a part of it. That's the story of Glens Falls over the last 10 years. This is a place we are proud to bring people, and something that we are all benefiting from every single day, and it belongs to us all. This is not the accomplishment of a single person, although I think we owe a lot to some of those early visionaries. I think this is something that brings us together. I think it's something that we can all be proud of.